So I've been working in the engine for about 13, 14 months all in at this point. I used it for a previous short film called A Stitch in Time, which is currently on the channel, and I'll link it above. But the next project is way more ambitious and requires much more dense world building. It's a sci-fi film, of course. But this film is not something I'm going to be grabbing a camera and going shooting in the street, guerrilla style. It's not something I'm comfortable with doing practically, and I really want to get the world building right. And Unreal Engine really presents that opportunity for indie filmmakers like me and you to create these worlds and tell bigger stories. So I'm really excited about the opportunity it presents. So everything from finding references, blocking out the scene, texturing, rendering, lighting, treating the environment with things like fog and finding ways to make it look physically accurate, like with ray tracing or path tracing. I've never had to do any of this stuff before, so no wonder it's taken as long as it has. But at the same time, I'm setting the benchmark for quality very high. So all of the stuff that I rendered over the past year, I have kept, and I'm going to show you now the stuff that got thrown away. And stay tuned for the final render at the end of this video. So the idea for this shot is it's the opening shot of the movie. It starts on a near future city, so not overly sci-fi. It's more treading the line between where we are now and where we might be in, say, 10 years. And the world itself is one of overstimulation with ads and notifications. So all of that has to come together in this opening shot. It's a lot to convey, so it's a bit of a challenge too. So the first thing to talk about real briefly is reference, because I think it's very important to have physically accurate or real world reference imagery or video to draw from, so that there is an element of truth to the work. So for me, in this case, I took to drone videos of New York. So I've got some in front of me here. I wanted to try and get a sense of the camera movement, see how fast or slow it tends to be. And also when you get a sort of sense of the perspective as well, the lens size, how wide the lens is, all that kind of stuff really informs, say, the shot. But then also you can start to get a sense of the grouping of buildings and how tightly packed they are, how tall they are versus the street level, and how much traffic is on the street. So I've got some video here of daytime New York, which is like really slow drone shots, which I really love. And I really like it when the drone is, say, higher than some of the smaller buildings, but not quite so high that it's past the highest skyscraper. So it's somewhere in the middle, because it gives a nice sense of scale to everything. So the other buildings rise up above and out of shot even. I tend not to go for any of the really wide shots, because I know how tough that would be as well, to place so many buildings and have enough variety amongst all of the meshes that I'm going to have to put in the scene. You also notice reflections being a really big deal for windows, and especially those big glass skyscrapers with the floor-to-ceiling windows. So they're really good at selling the reality, and having other buildings and car and traffic reflecting in the glass. I really like that. I've also got examples of New York at night. Now my shot is going to be at night, so I needed good reference for the brightness of building window lights, and also the brightness of street lights. Where's the light coming from? For instance, in Times Square, tons of light at street level is coming from shops, billboards, and some of it's coming from street lights, which is fine, but most of it's is spilling out into the street, which is actually quite important. So inspiration, I take a lot of inspiration from Blade Runner, the original and the newer one. There's a shot from the newer Blade Runner where the main character is traveling to the LAPD, and you get this really nice sort of vista. It's very smoggy and overcast, but you can sort of see the streets in the far distance. And I was looking at that not as reference, obviously, because you want reference to be real world, but I wanted to see what was out there in terms of benchmarking for the shot, because that is a big budget movie, and I wanted to see where I landed and what they were doing that helped sell the shot. And I thought obscuring a lot of stuff was actually a good method. Let me show you the very first attempt at this drone shot. I'd already been building the city in UE4 for a little bit. I wasn't using many meshes, many models at all, but I had come up with this shot, which I'm going to show you now. If I was going to break this down, if I'm going to critique it, which I have to do, it's by no means photorealistic at all. What I have done here is, I've got this central building, which looks all right. You can see that the lights sort of repeat twice. You've got this set here that is mirrored up here. The cars don't really look correct. I think overall there's just a lot wrong. I don't look at it and think, oh, I believe that. And what I've done to try and sell it is add a lot of fog, which, as we saw in the Blade Runner example, helps mask things, but what you're seeing in clarity isn't real enough, and then you don't see anything. But this version I kind of binned, actually, and in favor of UE5 temporarily so that I could learn that new software. It's actually really odd going back to some of these earlier tests, knowing where I am now. On one of the buildings to the far left, the windows, the size of those windows compared to some of the other ones on the right hand side and some of the nearby buildings, they don't really match up scale wise, but there's a lot of work to be done. More drones in the sky here now. I've got them coming around corners. So I was playing with splines and getting all of these little meshes, these drone meshes, to follow the path that I'd set for them using a spline. I started adding billboards. Then I have some weird reflection stuff happening here, and I think that was because I was just experimenting a bit with Lumen in UE5. The emissive light from here is actually casting onto the building down here, which is actually giving quite a pleasing molding. It's obviously nowhere near where it needs to be. When you're setting your benchmark high, this is not good enough, but I really liked the Lumen global illumination that I'm getting here on some of these towers as well. They look great. Jumping ahead, we are now adding a bit more detail. So I've moved some things here. I've added some wires and ducts and some air conditioning units to some of the nearby buildings. And also some detail tiling happening on the top of this building here. You may notice now that I've added camera shake. This is something that I had used a Vive tracker to record in the engine using Take Recorder. But as we saw from the reference, the camera shake doesn't really present itself in the real drone shots. So this probably, while it adds a little bit of realism, it also takes away because it's not something that you would actually see. So as nice as it is, I think eventually this camera shake goes away. Right, so now I wanted to add things to the billboard, but then had a problem. And I realized a bit later down the line why this was. For anyone who's been watching my more recent videos, you'll know that you should be using image sequences and not videos. In this, I used an MP4 to try and play it back on the billboards. And Movie Render Queue does not like that at all when it comes to rendering out. Sequencer is fine because it's semi-real time, but this, every time the Movie Render Queue takes a sample, the frames of the video advance. So you get a kind of weird time-lapse effect, which is not something I wanted at all. So here is a big change. I've clearly just figured out how to turn on the Lumen reflections and also turn the roughness of the building on the right hand side, turn the roughness way down. So now we're starting to see reflections of the other buildings in that main building and also this second one as well. So as we pass, you get to see all of those little highlights and spots of light, and I really like that. That's one of the things that starts to sell the effect. In terms of improving this, it just needs more detail. This is where I start getting closer to what I ended up with, where I've changed the angle of the camera. It's now drifting side to side. I decided against moving forwards. It didn't quite feel right to me, but I'm getting more scale, which I like. There's still a lot of work to be done. The lights on the buildings are too bright or just too uniform. You know, the emissive material that's being used to generate all of these lights is pretty much a lot across all the buildings. So it just looks a little bit too blah, like it's everywhere. Not enough variety in the textures. The reason I do so many renders as well is because everything that I do in the engine, I do over and over again, kind of like drilling, because I'm trying to learn it as effectively as possible. A lot of the time when you follow a tutorial online, you do it when you need it and then you don't do it again until you need it. So every time you need to learn something, I always end up finding myself going back to tutorials unless I do it over and over again. So I find this method of doing things over and over again, rendering over and over again, trying different settings, all of that just helps learn the engine. I want to know what every bit does so that I can have a better idea of how it all works together as a whole. I decided on, eventually, this downward motion because I wanted to feel like we were descending into the city. So because the story begins at street level. So I thought we'll do this drone shot, but we'll have it slowly descend into the city, which I really like. And the street lights here are much more what you'd see in the drone footage because they're spilling out from the shop signs and the interiors of shops rather than it being all based upon street lighting. There's a few street lights there you can see. A lot more traffic, which is good, but ultimately the lights coming out of the buildings, which just seems a lot more realistic when you look back at the reference. That brought me to what is probably my first good render, something that I looked at and thought, I like that. That's kind of important because up until this point, I was not convinced about what I was seeing. I didn't think that this was movie ready. No one was going to burst into the room and go, wow, what are you watching? But then I got this shot and it felt good. It didn't feel perfect by any length, but I felt like I'd gotten somewhere where all the elements were starting to sing together a little bit. You can see that the buildings now have lights on them, which is realistic, something you would find. There are clouds in the scene. The lights are looking good on the street, but also the reflections in the buildings starting to look good as well. This version, I believe, was using the hardware ray tracing. It wasn't using Lumen, and everything was being generated just with the ray tracing in the engine. So no fancy stuff, actually, just a movie render queue, render with ray tracing, and you can start to see some of these elements coming together. It's a good feeling when you just get to a point where you're like, all right, okay, maybe this can work, because it's encouraging. One thing I would like to say about the UE5 tests though, the stuff that I thought was really good was using nanite, because a lot of the ability to just pack loads of these buildings and meshes in without worrying about the performance of the software was really comforting actually, because I knew I wanted a big scale scene. I had tried some stuff in UE4 where I just peppered it with models, and yeah, I had sort of tanked the frame rate a bit. There's even some bits of photogrammetry in here when you get further down to street level, but I'm not crossing that bridge just yet. That's for another video, I think. So from the last one, I made even more improvements. Still using the ray tracing. I had tried a few post effects again via the post-process volume in Unreal Engine. Again, more meshes, just trying to add more detail basically. So I added some cranes, some nice reflections going on in this one. And also the drone that flies by here is I'm doing a custom animation on a spline here. So it moves, it sort of banks and turns more like a plane. So it feels a bit more realistic than just the sort of slow drifting along that we've had. And from that, with a few more refinements and a bit of work in After Effects, you get this. This building on the right-hand side, I've added this ladder. It's sort of like a fire escape, repeating fire escape. And I've also completely changed the material on the building as well. It's not the stock that came with the model anymore. I went to textures.com. They've got some great building facades. You can get the normal color, you can get emissive lights that you can place and a sort of mask that you place over the top in the material editor. So you can get all of those for free at a pretty decent resolution from textures.com. So I thought that was really, really helpful and useful. So I got to that stage and I was dead pleased, but I started to play around with Octane, which is a really cool deferred renderer. It's a plugin that you can get, and it is free if you're using one GPU, which I am. This plugin allows you to get fully path traced scenes. Now Unreal does have a path tracer, but there are some serious limitations at the present moment that just make it kind of not workable for this project. Unreal can't do translucency very well just yet, especially when you mix it with depth of field. But Octane is fully path traced, so I downloaded that plugin and wanted to try it so badly on my Unreal Engine 5 scene. But Octane is very picky about materials, and some of the mega scans I was using and some of the building materials just weren't playing ball, so I couldn't get it to work with the current project, which is a real bummer because of the amount of work that went into it. So now I had to go to UE4 and start again, which I did. I diligently did it again. So I've shelved the UE5 project. I will go back to it eventually, or upgrade the current project to UE5, which is probably more likely, to be fair. But the UE4 project was a great way for me to test out this new path traced method for the shot. Learning that plugin was yet another step on this really long journey. So there was tons more settings to learn, loads of things to really pick up, and I'm really glad I did, because the thing about path traced renders is it's what they do for feature film anyway. So trying to get everything working with ray tracing, trying to get everything working with Lumen is fine, but if you want to get that next level quality, I really recommend using some sort of path tracing renderer. So without further ado, I would like to show you the shot that I ended up doing based off of all of that work using Octane. Here is the final shot.
May I have your attention, please? Train number 43, the Powhatan Arrow, is now boarding on track.
And that's the shot. And I'm really pleased with how far it's come. There are still a few things that I'm going to be adding, but they are more as we shoot the film. Things like adding custom ads to the billboards, more traffic, but overall, this is kind of where it's landed. In doing this video, I was reminded very much of that old phrase that art is only ever abandoned and never really finished. Because at some point, we have to kind of stop working and decide that it's done and ready for people to see. So I hope this video has been useful to you. I hope that there's been some tips that you can take away. And if you've been with me for this long, please subscribe to the channel and I'll see you on the next one.